Hello friends, I am Vitaly Portnikov. Even the closest associates of former German Chancellor Angela Merkel are debating her recent statements. Are debating her latest statements, or are they even advising her not to get involved in politics? After Merkel effectively condemned the actions of her successor as party leader, Friedrich Merz. However, Merkel's statement also reflects the concerns of centrist supporters in the CDU compared to those supporters of the right wing whose leader and candidate is Friedrich Merz himself. It's clear that the decision voting on one of the key migration laws in Germany alongside the far-right party Alternative for Germany changes the entire balance of political power in the country. Even if we assume that Friedrich Merz does not intend to form coalitions with this party, it will still be quite difficult for him to find other coalition partners. In that case, if his political party will be so close on fundamental issues to the Alternative for Germany and will be ready to use the votes of its deputies to implement certain decisions. Friedrich Merz can also be understood. He is convinced that the Alternative for Germany is actually luring away traditional Christian Democratic Union voters, not the centrists, but those who were to the right of the center. He is convinced that the problem of migration divides German society, and that voters of the Christian Democratic Union expect more decisive and effective measures from conservatives regarding the solution to this problem. And yes, Friedrich Merz has never been a supporter of that approach that Angela Merkel adhered to, but a pretty simple question arises. The question that, by the way, they couldn't resolve, Democrats in the United States. What exactly happens when you move far enough away from the center? How much you can maintain your traditional audience? Or, on the contrary, when you can't satisfy the radicals who would definitely vote for your party if you took a tougher stance. After the presidential elections in the United States, many were saying that Democratic voters, for various reasons, those dissatisfied with the policies of the Biden administration stayed home on the day of the US presidential election. And we're talking about millions of people. This is why Donald Trump has an advantage, at least in the states that are most important for the outcome of the vote. Was so significant. Friedrich Merz may face a similar situation. His willingness to vote with the Alternative for Germany could bring him back to the Christian Democratic Union, could bring back some voters with more right-wing political views. But what about those who hold centrist views? Although it's possible that these voters will remain loyal to their choice and vote for the Alternative. But what will happen to those who hold centrist views? Will they be willing to vote for the Christian Democratic Union in this case? Will they even find a party in the German political spectrum that they would like to vote for, or, as happened with some Democrat supporters in the United States, they might just stay home? An even more important issue will arise after the parliamentary elections in Germany. Friedrich Merz, as we understand, has every chance today to become the new federal chancellor. But that's, again, if he finds reliable coalition partners. After the Christian Democratic Union MPs unexpectedly and surprisingly voted with the Alternative, who these partners are for the German conservatives, Social Democrats. But the current federal chancellor and the Social Democrats candidate for the head of the German government, Olaf Scholz, is already creating a perception among his own electorate. The idea that the Christian Democratic Union voting alongside the Alternative is a real political earthquake, a true moral catastrophe for Germany. And then the question arises how, after such an election campaign, the Social Democrats will be able to form what is called a grand coalition with Merz. After all, Angela Merkel's opportunities were precisely connected with the fact that she, as a representative of the centrists in the CDU, had a chance to attract social democrats to her government and not cause them to doubt the viability of their own party. Although let's remember that this also turned out to be an illusion, and it wasn't easy for the Social Democrats to step out of the shadow of the federal chancellor and her party. The Greens, but for them, just like the Social Democrats, it will be very difficult to agree to a coalition with the Christian Democrats. After they voted with the Alternative for Germany, they might vote a few more times. The Free Democrats. But right now, it's not clear at all how likely they are to make it into the new German Bundestag. The Alternative. But Friedrich Merz will clearly not be ready to form a government. The government is on the side of the far right, even if it uses their MPs during important votes in the Bundestag. A minority government that will be supported, among others, by members of parliament from the Alternative for Germany. But such a government has never existed in German history, and it is completely unclear to what extent it can function at all. Then a more obvious outcome of events remains. Either Friedrich Merz won't become chancellor, and it turns out that his opponents have enough votes to form their own cabinet, but even that is very much in question. Either that, and this is a more realistic outcome. In the event of further developments regarding the blocking of the Christian Democrats and the deputies of the Alternative, turbulence after the new parliamentary elections, the turbulence that will be very difficult to overcome. Maybe that's exactly what scares Angela Merkel. Thank you, friends. Stay tuned to this channel, subscribe to it, subscribe to my social networks, take advantage of the opportunities to sponsor this channel. Good luck.